Good afternoon. Welcome to Johnson-Hinckley Stadium for today's press conference. The Citadel will travel to Chattanooga, Tennessee to take on the University of Tennessee Chattanooga. That is a 6 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, September 27th. We have with us Coach Drayton to talk about the game. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon to everyone. Congratulations to the class of 2026 on reaching one of the crowning jewels as a cadet. They received their rings. Brought mine today so that the recruits can see that. We had 25 guys in our program. When I say guys, that encompasses everyone. 25 human beings, men and women in our program that received their band of gold. It was a beautiful ceremony. I'm glad I had the opportunity to attend and watch these guys go through the ring after being in the chapel to get their band of gold. Parents' Day has extra emotional weight, you know, with families in attendance, the traditions and the expectations that go along with it. So I acknowledge the reality of our disappointment for the team, for fans, for the families, and everyone's support. We are disappointed. When I woke up on Saturday morning, I can tell you that I was not prepared for the result of the day. Felt like we had a really good week of preparation. I was talking to my kids, and they were like, please, whatever you do, just get to that stadium because you are ready. And pregame meal, I'm sitting with Coach Keith Jones, class of 75, and he was fired up. He was ready. And I'm looking at the coaching staff, and they're ready to go. And I said to one of them, I said, you know what? It'd be a lot easier if we could do this for them, but we can't. It is our job to prepare them. So, having said that, what needs to improve? We have to improve our execution in key moments. We have to have the ability to be where our feet are. When there's chaos, when there's things going around us, we have to be present in the moment. And then most importantly, one of the things that bothered me the most, we have to be able to flip the switch. Yesterday, as in most weeks, we do a program overhaul. We do a program overview. We look at our process from top to bottom and what we do, how we prepare, how we get ready for these games. We have to make sure what we do is correct for our current climate, our current players, as well as our play calls, things of that nature. So we went through that process on yesterday. Now, what did it yield? It reaffirmed that we need to trust in our process in most areas. Some things we will change. Trust in the training, trust in knowing that there was some improvement, that losses like this can be stepping stones, and it also gives us the opportunity to teach life lessons. While this game stings, and I was thoroughly embarrassed, there's a lot to learn about ourselves when these moments happen. Having said that, I will be ready to answer any questions.
Coach, good afternoon. Do you have an update on Kobe's status for this Saturday?
Yes, he was not available to practice yesterday. As it stands now, he's not available Tuesday, and I'm just taking it day by day. We care about the individuals who are injured, but our mentality and our mindset, we have to close ranks, much like when we lost Dustin, much like when we lost Corey Ibrahim, our starting tailback. We have to close ranks and keep marching forward.
Going off that, does he need to, say, practice Tuesday or Wednesday to play, or how do you, not necessarily with him, but anybody in general, do you have kind of a...
Yeah, well, I'll answer the question specifically to him. Yes, he needs to practice. He is a redshirt freshman, right? He's a freshman on the football field. He needs those banked hours, those banked reps to have a level of success. So if we can't get him on the practice field this week, he won't be available for us.
You mentioned the execution kind of in your opening statement. Obviously, you've played North Dakota State State, Mercer, two top 25 teams. The weather was a little bit of an issue in week one, but is there something, along with execution, you can kind of point to why you guys have not been able to score so far at home?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously that is the elephant in the room, and we lean into that conversation. We don't shy away from it. You talked about execution. It's been a myriad of things. It's kind of a compound issue from the opponents, right? The opponents we've played in our first, in our first 4 games, 3 of them, quite frankly, will be at the top of their conference. They're playing in their conference championship games, more than likely. So you factor in the opponent. I'm not going to give our program an excuse with the weather, right? We embrace the elements. Rain, sleet, hail, or snow, we have to be ready to go. But the execution portion, it's been maybe an MA here, or we physically just got beat here by individual, or the play call came in wrong. So it's been a myriad of things, and everybody owns that, but nobody owns it more than me because I'm at the top, and I'm responsible for it.
When you look back at the Samford game, defense made some pretty incredible plays. What do you try to take from that game as you hit another road game now? What do you want to kind of take from there and do again?
Yeah, so, Samford was kind of a barometer as an expectation on how we can play. Defensively, for the most part, all year has played solid. They've been put in some tough situations, and they've found a way to win in some of those situations and to learn from things the opponent have been able to take advantage of us in those situations. But I was disappointed defensively this week in our physicality. We didn't play with the same tenacity. We didn't play with the same fight, that same drive. And that's bothersome as a coach, especially a coach who is a defensive-minded guy. There were some effort things that showed up. We should never have an issue with effort. Pete Carroll, bless the Raiders, they just took a thumping too. But one of the things he said was, Maurice, you have to coach effort. And I never really believed in that. I thought, hey, effort is the standard. You're supposed to give effort. But he says, no, you got to coach it. And that's one of the things we will be doing this week. We will be coaching the heck out of effort. These young men are not all the time self-starters the way that, maybe other generations have been who have been here. You talk about processes and things that we may change. We're going to change some of our preparation without going into detail during the week to try to address some of these issues. There may be some personnel changes that you may see. We're looking at our schemes. Is it too much? Do we need to downsize? So we're looking at all of these things. And then I'm also looking, as a program overview, the whole ring weekend. I thought it was important, and I still believe it's important for our guys to go and be a part of their classmates during that ceremony. But I do remember Coach Taft would have his own ceremony where he kind of kept the team and the guys isolated because he knew that there was a level of focus that needed to be maintained to achieve, the desired outcome. So we're looking at everything.
You mentioned on Saturday after the game about the fight in the team, and you didn't think that they'd fought. Looking back on it, do you still feel that way, and how do you hope to kind of rectify that and get a better fighting effort?
Absolutely, and I'm doubling down on that. I know my players are looking at this. We met on it Sunday, and we have to make sure it drives home, right? And I told the story of Oscar. Oscar was our playground bully, and the way that the Citadel football program is viewed across the country, we're the little kid on the block, okay? I know everybody wants to talk about how glorious we are, but first thing you got to do is look in the mirror and give a true self-assessment. We're the little kid on the block. And sometimes being the little kid on the block when he goes to the playground, much like myself, you get bullied and you get beat up. And I used to get beat up by a guy named Oscar. And my dad would make me go back to that park. Glenwood Elementary is where the park was. And I would get beat up and I would get dusted up. And he would ask me, son, are you injured or are you hurt? And I'm crying, I'm not injured, I'm hurt. Get back out there. And that process happened over and over again until one day I said enough is enough. And I balled up my fist, and I'm not advocating violence, but on the football field, you're allowed to have a little bit of that. And I struck Oscar right in the nose, and all the kids saw it. And then he turned and he ran. And you know what? I never had to fight Oscar again. And this is where the life lesson came into play. And this is what I told the team. You will have Oscars in your life, not just on the football field. You will have Oscars on your job. You will have Oscars within your home with your family. You're going to have Oscars, and you're going to have to stand up to those Oscars, right? And see it face to face, to face those Oscars, and you got to come out on top. So that's what we shared with them, and it goes back to what I said in week 1. I said in the preseason a little bit. Up here, we got to believe that we can, and we can't be afraid to strike. We can't be afraid to stand on our own 2 feet and defend our territory. And I'm getting off on a little tangent, but someone told me that, hey man, you have a lot of really good young men, and I do. He said, the kind of young men you would want your daughter to marry. I said, no sir, I don't want them to marry my daughter, because right now, if somebody broke into our house or broke into their house, I don't know if they're going to stand 10 toes down and do what they have to do to defend the household, because we didn't do it on Saturday. And that's what we have to be able to get to that point, and I said it earlier, where we flip the switch. And you can do that here. We can do that.
I feel like this is kind of a common topic, high school football, college football now, but in terms of like guys that are like just a dog, right? I feel like it's harder to find out. How do you coach that, or do you either kind of have it or you don't?
Both, right? And so I believe you can coach that, and you can harness that, because we all have it in us. I've seen it in these guys before. They have it in them. So what's in you as a coach, now I have to be able to bring it out of you. And then we have to maintain it and keep it in between the white lines, because we want to be great citizens. We want to be model cadets. We want to be model human beings. I think of the days of Kerry Cash and Lance Hansen. Those guys, excuse my expression, they would try to knock your freaking block off. And then outside the lines, they're the best people on the planet. And that's what we had, when I'm thinking back to those 90s teams, and even in that 15, 16, 17, we had those good individuals who understood how to step over the line and turn that switch on. And that's what we are truly working on. We have been working on, and we'll continue to work on.
Going back to coaching, what about extracting the football? Can you kind of coach that, or kind of guys in the right position?
You definitely can teach extracting the football. That is huge for us. And so it goes into that effort piece that I was talking about. If you populate the football, right, one man has to stop the vertical penetration, and then the next man, we teach various tactics to get a football out. I don't want to talk about it right now because somebody else might try to steal some of those tactics. I feel like we are very, very good at it in practice. I feel like the coaches do a very good job in setting up drills that put you in game-like situations to extract the ball. And they typically come in bunches. And it typically goes in a drought, and then it'll come in a bunch. So you have to stick with your process on that. That's a great question.
I know that Chattanooga, I think, has played Tennessee this season. Obviously, a very tough Power 4 opponent. What have you seen out of the Mocs heading into Saturday?
So the Mocs, let me tell you about the Mocs. They are 1-3, but their record is not a 1-3 record. They are very similar to us, where they have played Memphis. They played Tarleton State, who I believe is ranked 2 or 3. I don't know if the rankings have come out yet in the country. And they also played Tennessee Tech, who last week was 17. This week, they probably should be in the top 10. So they've played, like us, opponents who will finish at the top of their conferences. They are the typical Chattanooga team in that they have multiple transfers, and that's not a knock, right? They go out and they're able to get players. They have players that are really good in positions where we're really young, and that's all right because this is an education process for us, and it's an opportunity to put some of what we're teaching into play. Their coach, Rusty Wright, he is a good man, and I preference that because he was born in Aiken, South Carolina. So any South Carolinians, we tip our hat to. But he knows how to galvanize a team. So although their record is 1-3, he understands how to rally troops and get them on the same page. Their quarterback right now, number 11, Camden Orth, transfer from Bowling Green, is playing at a high level. He's similar to some of the quarterbacks we've seen this year, where he can run the ball. He passes the ball very efficiently. And then and this is the part of football that I hope they make a rule. They picked up the running back from Wofford, right? I don't believe we should be able to take players in conference, okay? But Ryan Ingram is a very good running back that transferred from Wofford. They have him now, along with another running back, Justice Durant, who's a transfer as well. So they're loaded on offense. In defense, they've always been stout up front. We have faced some really, really good defensive lines up front, and this is no different. So part of our preparation that I talked about, we're going to make some changes there in how we do some things.
You talked about how teams have been loading up the box against you, kind of daring you to pass the ball. How do you get the passing game going here?
Yeah. How do we get the passing game? We got to complete the vertical pass, right? To get them to back up, whether it's through play action, whether it's their traditional drop back, you saw us sprint out a little bit, or whether it's a trick play. I think right now we'll have to use a combination of all to loosen up some of these safeties because post-snap, a lot of these safeties are 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Now, I mean, they're barreling down. Now, there's an element of that where we have to be able to protect. If we can't protect, we're not going to put any of our quarterbacks at harm's way and get them sliced in half because I have a responsibility to take care of the human being, right, the safety of the human being as well.
You mentioned the Chattanooga running backs. I think they rushed for close to 300 yards against Charleston State. How do you all contain that run game? How do you stop them? What do you need to do?
Yeah, I think it's back to the basics with our defense. Defensively, we're not broken, right? And we have to get back to how we have been able to show that we can play this year, and we do it through multiple people, keeping people fresh. But really, schematically, defensively, we've tried to poke holes in that. What we see is the individual execution right now, and we have to execute.
A little off topic. Congratulations on the nod to the Berkeley Hall of Fame. How did you find out about that, and kind of what does that honor mean to you?
Well, that was an awesome phone call. Former Citadel football player Spencer Scott, I believe, reached out and called me to tell me that the committee was going to reach out and let me know that we would have the opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame. It was a big honor. Very excited, very proud to be in the Berkeley Hall of Fame. A lot of greats before me have gone into that Hall of Fame. And it's not just about your individual accolades that you did while you were in high school, but all of those who went in before me are doing things in the community. They're productive people in society, and I think that's huge. I mean, that's part of our charge in life is to lift as we climb. So we just want to continue that work and continue to help from that standpoint.
Did you have that ceremony, or is it still getting
No, we had the ceremony. It was the Thursday before we played Gardner-Webb, and then we were presented plaques that Friday night game. Berkeley was playing West Ashley.
And we will not ask how that went.
Berkeley won big.
Perfect.
Coach, we appreciate it.
Congrats.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you.